Dear learners, welcome to the first session of second week of Managing Industry 4.0 course. The theme of this week is the Playbook of Industry 4.0 technologies, collaboration, convergence and integration aspects, digitalization strategy, and also we will discuss the framework of Industry 4.0 for driving the business value. We will be studying following 5 or 6 topics in all these sessions: a overview of AI and associated technologies, collaboration and convergence aspect of technologies for Industry 4.0 solutions. This we are going to do in this lecture, and then in the next lecture we are going to have discussion on RPA, robotic process automation, for process automation in the manufacturing and other industries, augmented reality, virtual reality aspects, how they are being implemented and they are being used in the for Industry 4.0, additive manufacturing 3D aspects for Industry 4.0 solutions. Then we will go on the advanced concept of like computer vision and associated industry use cases. Then next to that, we will try to study, we will like to study the automation strategies for the Industry 4.0, robotic solutions, humanoid solutions, and then at the end of this week, we like to study the digitalization framework, not the digital transformation framework for Industry 4.0 and also business framework. So this is the agenda of this week. Hope you will enjoy and learn this agenda. So coming back to the today's session, a brief overview of AI and associated technologies and collaboration, convergence and integration aspect of technologies for Industry 4.0 solutions. I will like to recap our previous discussion, which talk about that the various developments and various usage of Industry 4.0. As the picture shows that all these implementations, whether you are in the factory environment, whether you are in the agriculture where the drones are being used, or whether you are in the again in the factory environment where integrated operation is being done with the help of Industry 4.0, or in your personal use where your watch is being connected to your smartphone. There is a integration of advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data, and few more. With the help of this integration, we are able to develop these kind of solutions. So here there is a difference which I like to mention, that when we were in the information technology revolution, that is the third industrial revolution, this kind of requirement was not there. Like when we were using CRM, customer relationship management, or ERP, enterprise resource planning, like SAP R3, there we were using only software technologies. We are using only the programming languages, maybe a different kind of different programs, but not like that. We are using one side the AI, other side IoT, then we have computer vision, then only it makes a complete solutions of Industry 4.0. So Industry 4.0 kind of solutions require a very different requirement of integration, collaboration and convergence of various technologies which we are going to study today. But before we study the convergence and collaboration and integration of technologies, I thought it is worth spending some time on the overview and some of the finest functionality of these technologies. We would like to spend some time on this now. Again, this is our old slide, which I like to keep reminding, that these kind of technologies are the building block for Industry 4.0 solutions, like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things we have discussed in the last week sessions in depth, connectivity and cloud computing we have discussed in the last week session in depth, cyber security we will be discussing, advanced analytics also, a part of that was discussed in the last week session, augmented reality which we will be discussing in this session, robotics and additive manufacturing, 3D, we will be discussing in this week's sessions, and computer vision. So this is beyond that, there are many other technologies, which also are being used for the Industry 4.0, but these are some of the key technologies. It is better to know about their functionalities and how they are being used in the different kind of Industry 4.0 solutions or other industry solutions. So I will like to start with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is an umbrella technology. Under artificial intelligence, we have some other technologies like machine learning, deep learning, NLP, all are the part of artificial intelligence. And now generative technologies like generative AI, ChatGPT, or Gemini, or Perplexity.ai, or Capitol, all they are the part of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is an umbrella technology. Umbrella technology, we call it. It is a game changer. It is being said now in the 21st century. The impact of artificial intelligence is just beginning few years back. It is going to change the way we live, the way we do the work, the way industry function. So let us try to learn some basic function or basic definition of artificial intelligence. It is a simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. So this is one technology which simulates the human intelligence, the way we think. Human intelligence is quite different from computer intelligence. The first time artificial intelligence is able to simulate the kind of thing which humans were doing, like we were humans, like doctors are diagnosing the disease. Now artificial intelligence is also helping doctors to diagnose the disease. Farmers deciding that which kind of feed is good for their crop. Now artificial intelligence tools also provide them insight that in this condition, in this weather conditions, in this soil condition, which kind of minerals, which kind of seed they should use, in what quantity they should use the water, etc. So artificial intelligence is simulating the human intelligence. And sometimes it is being also exceeding the human intelligence, because the information, artificial intelligence is a computerized system, is based on computer algorithms, etc. And it is able to process the information very, very fast, which sometimes become limitation for the human beings. If we see the formal definition of artificial intelligence given by the Gardner, who is a global consultant, AI as applying advanced analytics, logic-based techniques, including machine learning, to interpret events, support and automate decisions, and to take actions. Another function of artificial intelligence is that after taking the decision, it also induces the action, which we will be seeing with some of the examples following. Let us see some examples. This is a very popular system developed by IBM some time back, Watson system for health. Watson system was developed by IBM a few years back, and this system, based on the multiple technologies like deep learning, machine learning, is able to diagnose, able to suggest the treatment line based on the reports, based on the facts which has been fed. It is having the history of millions of these kind of symptoms, millions of this kind of health health records or health parameters, and with the help of artificial intelligence kind of technologies, kind of algorithms, the system is able to process and able to provide a excellent aid, excellent supplementary aid, sometimes which is not even possible with the human. It is able to provide, IBM Watson's AI system is able to provide very good diagnostic pointers for the patient's health. So this is one example. Second example I would like to take here is the autonomous vehicle, which has not come in our country, but this is one example which really tell us that how the artificial intelligence kind of systems are used by the advanced technologies like advanced equipments or advanced cars like driverless car. It is based on the analytics. It is based on the location knowing by the vehicle, and it is all automated. It is all integrated with other technologies. The third example, which is very common to all of us, Google Map. Google Map is nothing but is again artificial intelligence engine, and it collaborates with many other technologies like GPS technologies, computer analysis technology, predictive routing technologies, and image processing. All these kind of technologies are integrated, work in the collaboration, and this provide Google Map kind of technology in our hand, and we all know about the usage of Google Map, and it is being updated with the help of satellite image, on a real time basis, on a nearly real time basis. So this kind of applications are possible only with the help of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, which we started learning now. This definition is consistent with the current and emerging state of AI technologies. And now we are seeing far-reaching developments in this field, and we will keep studying all those things, all those developments like generative AI, and how generative AI is helping the manufacturing industries nowadays, and or other industries also. So this is where I thought we will start our learning from artificial intelligence first. Machine learning. Machine learning is, as I said, is a statistical tool, and it is a part of the artificial intelligence. It's a branch of artificial intelligence based on the concept system can learn. See, as we said, we are living in a data world, and data should be used for learning the facts. So how the machine learning function? It learn from the data, identify the pattern, make decision with the minimal human intervention. Suppose a machine is getting failed, a pump is getting failed in the field, and if we have a data, the past data of the pump, in what situation earlier it has failed, and the machine learning tools or machine learning algorithm can diagnose that, can process the data and find out the reasons of the current failures. So there is a function, this kind of functions are being used by machine learning tools. If we see the formal definition of machine learning is a purely analytic discipline. It applies mathematical models to data to extract knowledge and final patterns that human would like to miss. Machine learning recommends action. Machine learning is a critical techniques that enable AI to solve problems. It has many applications, machine learning, and it is one of the, I'll say, the key technologies right now in most of the manufacturing and organizations, where they are using, we see this example of predictive analytics, based on machine learning, how the anomaly in the functioning of a motor is being, captured, and then subsequent actions are being, taken by the technical team. So this is another very good example of machine learning. Now the next AI component technology is a natural language processing. Natural language processing. This is where when natural language processing start becoming mature, and that was the real revolution which AI has brought in the industry. The natural language processing means that the way we communicate, here we communicate with the machine. When we ask the machine that you capture my speech and convert into text, that is a natural language processing. It means now with the help of natural language processing, machine is developing similar kind of intuitive power, to some extent translation power, the way human translate and do the communication. So machine is with the help of NLP language, NLP processing, we call it NLP processing. Machine is now able to interpret what we want, and then accordingly it take the action accordingly. So one of the good example of natural language processing is that the chatbot. Chatbot. If you see this chatbot in the smartphone, we all uses the chatbots like Google Assistant or Siri. And in case of iOS, you will find that you can communicate with the chatbot, and whatever you want to play a game, or you want to locate a restaurant, or you want to play a song, chatbot will respond to you. And so how it is possible? Behind the chatbot, this technology, a couple of technologies of AI, NLP. First, NLP make it possible to understand what you want, and it communicate to the backend system, and the backend system invoke that algorithm, and based on algorithm, it will select the song which you want to play, and then you will able to start listening, start enjoying the song. So NLP is one of the very important development in the field of AI, And once NLP become matured, then only we are seeing the now new technologies like generative AI, which we will be discussing subsequently, maybe in the next week, that was possible. Otherwise, it was not possible. That reinforcement technology, natural language processing, and deep learning, they had a great contribution in development of generative AI. Now, what is deep learning? Deep learning is another very advanced technology which work on the neural networks, the way our brain functions, and how our brain functions in a neural network. This is a neural network I'm showing over here. Scientists were able to simulate the functioning of our brain in form of the neural networks. So neural networks technology is a highly robust and mathematical oriented technology. So I'm not going in the detail of this neural network. One should understand that if you want to learn deep learning, you have to learn neural network, how the neural network functions. So deep learning is another advanced technology of AI, where the variant of machine learning algorithm uses multiple layers of algorithms to solve problems by extracting knowledge from raw data and transforming it at every level. If we like to see some examples of deep learning, if you want to learn the deep learning with the help of some example, and as you see that now this dog is there, your camera wants to recognize and want to see that who is this dog? Who is this dog? Your camera want to process this picture for some function or some other activity. So now the software has to understand this is picture of the dog. How software will understand the picture, whether it's a dog or it's a cat, how software will understand. Here, deep learning technology come into play. It will encode, one side the encoder, which see the dog as a part of the convolutional neural network, CNN we call it, and the image is the input, and then it will try to compare one by one different is like ages, is eyes, with the pictures is stored only in the system, and then it will arrive to a conclusion that whether this is a picture of the dog or is a picture of some other animal. So once it arrive all these coordinates is edges and lines then it start decoding. We call it a decoder function describing the dog. And finally, after the decoder function has been applied, then it reached to the conclusion that, oh, this is the picture of the dog. This is a picture of dog, and this is what I am requiring for a job. So this is the way the deep learning algorithm function is a very advanced technology, deep learning, which has helped which is helping the mankind like anything. And millions of kind of applications are being developed around the deep learning technology with the help of deep learning technology. So now we like to summarize how the AI and other technologies which are associated with AI are helping the industry. So if you like to see the life cycle of these technologies, first of all, once you digitize what you are going to see, like we have digitized this photo of the dog, and then we extract and transform. Then the next function is the analyzing. The algorithm or deep learning algorithm or machine learning algorithm will analyze that function, and then it will optimize that. It will optimize that. And then it will generate the new picture or whatever you want, and then it will prescribe that. It will predict that, and then it will take action. So this is a whole cycle which we are able to perform with the help of AI. Earlier it was not possible. Without help of AI, we are able to only do the estimation or prediction, we call it, or forecast. But now AI, with the help of AI, we are able to do action also. We are able to do prescription also. I have kept some videos for your further study. This videos belongs to the Tesla, how Tesla is using this technology in their factory environment and for their customer service. If you like to see the whole balloon of the AI technologies, these pictures give us good information. I am not discussing all these technologies, but we have already discussed some of the key technologies. And machine learning is again a very versatile technology. we will be again discussing, in one of the session, various components and elements of the machine learning. Now, coming back to the last, the next part of this lecture, the collaboration technologies and how collaboration and work. If you like to see the collaboration, have a look on this, this shop floor of a machine shop in a typical, factory environment, and you will see that, here, one side you have a sensors on the machine, other side there is a system which alert the technicians, third side, there is a system of digitized standard operating procedures or remote support, and fourth, the last thing is that, if there is a demand which is not there, then, with the help of 3D printer, which we are going to study in the next class, that, the part can be created, part can be printed, we call them. And what all technologies are being used for all these purposes? Advanced analytics one side, machine learning other side, human machine interaction third side, and advanced production, that is called additive manufacturing, or 3D is being used. So, this whole solution where a alert has been generated and it is being referred to the technician, and technician after diagnosing find that a spare part is required which is not there in the store. So, now the 3D printer print this spare part. This is now amalgam is a collaboration of these 4 or 5 technologies. So, this is a general requirement of any industry 4.0 solution which we have to understand. And that is why I thought it is worth discussing the collaboration aspect of the technologies to develop if industry 4.0 solution. So, this picture summarizes that what I was discussing, or in a little extended manner. This picture summarizes that one side we have IoT sensors, then we have the edge computing, then data is being captured from the business systems like MES or ERP, and then it is being machine learning system is analyzing that, and computer vision system is relating this picture or the whatever the problem is coming. Like we will be studying when we say the computer vision, that how the inspection is being now automated with the help of computer vision. So, whole lot of collaboration is required between different kind of technologies to develop a machine, to develop a industry 4.0 solution. That is what is the message I want to give you, and that is the point which I want to bring to your notice. Now, the next step is the convergence of technologies. I like to explain the convergence with the help of this example of Aadhaar and UPI. Aadhaar is an identity platform and UPI is a digital payment platform. And we all know that identity platform Aadhaar is enabling UPI. If Aadhaar is not there, identity platform is not there, then UPI will not function. So, these two technologies has been completely converged. I will not say integrated, but they are converged. So, convergence is also one of the important aspects of developing the advanced solutions like industry 4.0 solutions nowadays. So, solutioning is depending upon that how well we are able to understand the independent solutions, independent technologies, and how we converge them. So, that is very important. So, this picture shows that a schematic diagram of the convergence of technologies, artificial intelligence, and we are able to produce the new products. Like in case of with the help of Aadhaar and UPI convergence, we are able to, NPCI is able to provide the payment gateways to the banks. It was not possible earlier. So, this is a very important aspect which I thought we should discuss and try to understand the convergence aspect of technology. There are multiple other examples of convergence like our smartphone. Smartphone is having convergence, we call it a converged device because it has a camera one side, phone, communication or talking facilities. It is having the location like GPS. Is also having temperature. It find out the temperature, also sometimes humidity also, and it also being used as a computer for computing. It is a mini computer in our hand. And similarly, the smart TV is possible with the convergence of multiple technologies like internet, application, voice assistant, so forth. And Tesla cars, wearable smart watches, which we are, which make use of, is also a convergent technology. And finally, I will say that if you like to understand the convergence, this picture speaks 1,000 words. The drones which are being used in the warfare or maybe used in the agriculture, you can see the technology convergence is one of the key requirement of the functioning of the drones. No, drone will not function, will not do any business, no, unless no, it is being, multiple technologies come into play. So one side, no, we have the connectivity with the cloud computing. Then the communications like 5G or 4G are the communicating what we want to give direction to this drone, and we have IoT sensors. So I will say that one of the important requirement of Industry 4.0 solution is that we should understand, we should try to not only understand, we try to see the technological aspect of the convergence, how we can use the multiple technologies, how we will integrate them for a single solution. That is one of the requirements of Industry 4.0, development of Industry 4.0 solutions. So with this, I like to come to the end of this. If we like to compare what is the technology collaboration and technology convergence, the difference is a minor difference, multiple technology. In case of the technology collaboration, the multiple technologies work together dynamically to achieve a goal. And in case of convergence, technologies are merged and integrate. Like in this digital watch, technologies are merged. And then only this watch is not only able to give me time, it gives my the heart beating, my pulses rates, how many steps I walk in a day, like that. So that is a convergence of technologies. But in case of the collaboration, which we have understood, there are like in the factory environment, multiple technologies are collaborating each other, and then only automation is possible in the factory environment. So this is what I wanted to bring in this lecture, and I have also shared some of the important videos. If you have time, please go through these videos. This will give you further insight about these technologies and how they function. So we have come to the end of this lecture. If we go back and see that what we have done last 30 minutes, we have understood 4 important AI technologies, and like AI itself, the umbrella technology, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, and then we have also understood and studied the concept of collaboration, convergence, and integration. Thank you very much.